For the first main issue is a poor corporate governance. The corrupt National Security Agency official Thomas Reynolds told his subordinate heads to track down the Daniel Leon Zavitz, who owned the video evidence of the murder of the Congressman Philip Hammersley. Heads then followed the order of Thomas and asked Fielder to track Brill. The operation is not filed or authorized. It is operated verbally as a training op authorized by the FBI through a phone call from Hicks to Fielder.
Fielder, it's Hicks. I need an intercept on a Daniel Leon Zavitz, 202-555-0108.
And, what's our authorization?
We're calling it a P1 training op, FBI.
The above scene shown poor internal control affecting the transparency and accountability of the organization. Internal control are a set of rules and mechanisms, rules and procedures implemented by the company to ensure integrity of financial and accounting information, promote accountability and prevent fraud. Only a system as simple and fragile will let such fake operations to slide with only a phone call. This is not only increase the organization expense but also exploit the organization asset. Therefore, documentation and authorization of operation is very crucial to prevent organizations' resources to be abused for personal interests.
This meeting scene of Thomas Reynolds, Hicks, Fiddler, and two other guys shows how desperate Thomas wants his evidence of crime to be erased by any means. In order to achieve that, he uses his position to get all information on Robert Clayton Dean and his family. He even manipulates the press to destroy his credibility as a lawyer and a husband by framing him for an affair with Rachel Banks and involvement in a corruption case.
What he says.
We could take his wife and kid. He'd give it up for them.
We'd have the police and the FBI all over this in 24 hours. Put taps on his 20 most frequently called numbers, and let's get into his life. The union situation has mob written all over it. And he's definitely vulnerable on Rachel Banks. I want to know about his wife. I want to know about his parents. I want to know about his gambling problems, his urine samples, his porno rentals. I want to use every means possible to get what we need. Because this little son of a bitch is not going to be the final chapter of my life.
Thomas Reynolds is a mid-level official in the National Security Agency, who is supposed to act in accordance with the agency's objective. However, his acts in the above scenes has breached the agency's purpose. His frustrated ambition, along with an unyielding belief that national security is more important than liberties, lead him to frequently abuse his power by violating people's right to privacy with heavy surveillance. In order to fulfill his political fantasy, he uses his power given by his position to get anything and anyone out of his way, including using his position to tap Robert Clayton Dean, obtain every single information of him, and manipulate the press to destroy his credibility as a husband, father, and a lawyer. Reynolds was trying to persuade the congressman to pass the Telecommunications Security and Privacy Act.
What? Telecommunications Security and Privacy Act. Invasion of privacy is more like it. You read the Post? This bill is not the first step to the surveillance society. It is the surveillance society.
A lot of liberal hysteria.
Oh, listen, I'm not going to sit in Congress and pass a law that lets the government point a camera and a microphone at anything they damn well please.
Phil? Look, I don't care who bangs who, what cabinet officers get stoned, but this is the richest, most powerful nation on earth, and therefore the most hated. And you and I know what the average citizen does not, that we are at war 24 hours of every day.
Yeah.
Do I have to itemize the number of American lives we've saved in the past 12 months alone with judicious use of surveillance intelligence?
Thomas, cut the crap. I've got 3 major employers in the Syracuse area alone who are going to get just killed by this bill.
Even after Reynolds tried to bribe him,
Is equal to or greater than whatever those companies gave your last campaign.
I'm not talking about campaign contributions, damn it. I'm talking about my constituents being out of work. Jesus, man, wake up. National security isn't the only thing going on in this country.
or even blackmailing the congressman.
I've been there for you in the past, haven't I? There have been times, personal situations, when you needed my assistance and my confidence.
Are you blackmailing me?
The congressman didn't give in to Reynolds. Then this happens. He killed the congressman. There are two aspects of political ethics to look at: ethics of process and ethics of policy. Let's look into ethics of process first. The ethical principles that govern political office differ from those that govern moral life more generally. This leads to a popular paradox: the politician must sometimes do wrong to do right. In the movie, Reynolds did murder, bribe, blackmail, or even abuse his powers to fulfill his unyielding belief that national security is more important than civil liberties. His act can be considered right in the government's side, as he acts to protect the national security, but wrong morally in the eyes of the legislation system. Ethics requires political leaders to avoid harming the innocent, but it may also obligate them to sacrifice innocent lives for the good of the nation. Next, on ethics of policy. Political ethics deals not mainly with ideal justice, however, but with realizing moral values in democratic societies, where citizens and philosophers disagree about what ideal justice is. The key problem in policy ethics are between the values of the ends or outcomes themselves. In the case, it is regarding the Telecommunications Security and Privacy Act. In Reynolds' perspective, which is on the government's perspective, it is okay to invade citizens' privacy in order to protect national security. However, in the eye of the congressman, which also in the same page with the citizens, this is morally wrong and against the Privacy Act, which prohibits the disclosure of record about an individual from a system of records, absent the written consent of the individual.
The most critical issue that has been found in this case is the abuse of power. This issue could bring up several impacts towards the people in the organization. One of the major impacts that arise from the issue is that there will be bad influence spread among the people in the organization. Bad influence arose mostly due to the abuse of power from the leaders or the managers in the organization. For example, when the managers are abusing their powers in conduct unethical action or wrongdoing, the employees in the organization will try to follow the unethical behavior of their leader, and they will do the same things as their leader does. They might think that the action that have been done by their leader can be done. They might misuse their power in utilize the company's resource for their own preference. Besides, due to the abuse of power in the organization, there will be mistrust between the employees as the workplace politics might occur, especially since mostly the top level management, which are the leaders, might abuse their power in letting certain employees gain better benefit and work with them to achieve the leader's preferred goal. This will have caused an unfair situation for the employees, as the leaders only pick certain among them. Office politics also increases conflicts and tensions at the workplace, and the employee do not enjoy at the workplace and treat the work as a burden. As a result, this will create a stressful environment, and there will be occur of employee is being against with another employee that cause mistrust among employees. Furthermore, due to the abuse of power in the organization, especially from the leaders or the managers, the employees might face the stress of being controlled or used by the top level of management in performing the task which is out of the scope of their ordinary responsibility. Since the employees' main interest is to serve or put the full effort to serve the company, the employees which have been controlled have no power to voice out any opinion that cause the decrease in the employees' job satisfaction. As a result, the employees' engagement with the company are getting less.
Organizations as a whole. Bad reputations. The reputations of organization will fall as the organization is losing credibility due to the leaders or managers are not fair enough and are abusing the power they have in running the organizations, as the leaders might be self-interest which will misuse their power to achieve the things they want. The productivities of the organization will be to the abusing power by the peoples in the organization, and the organization might face losses. Stakeholders like investors and customers will not be confident to invest in a morally corrupted organization. High turnover and absenteeism rate. Due to the leaders have been abused their powers in organizations, this will make the employees in the organization will not willing or having any more interest to serve and contribute its effort to serve the company. According to Newman and Greed 2008, the first and most familiar abuse of power comes from the bully boss. This boss uses powers and authority to dominate staff, ostensibly to get the job done, as it will lead to the increases of the absenteeism rate among the employees. The employees is feeling unhappy as working in a stressful environment due to the abuse of power by the leader. As a result, there will be also a high turnover in the organization due to low satisfactions of employees. Litigation risk. Furthermore, the organization will also might face the risk of lawsuit and fines, which means that it will being sued by other people since the leaders been misuse their power in conducting the wrongdoing in order to achieve their preferred objective. For example, they will order their subordinate to help them to do illegal or unethical things that could cause a higher chances to be caught.
The first solution to tackle the issue is establish a code of conduct and ethics. A code of conduct is a set of rules outlining the social norms, religious rules, and responsibilities of proper practices for an individual. A code of conduct lays out an organization expectation and guiding principles for appropriate workplace behavior. As written, code of conduct or ethics can become benchmark against which individual and organizational performance can be measured. With the existence of code of conduct, this will help to guide the people in the organization to perform their work ethically and correct their mentality. Plus, this will also prevent them from conducting wrongdoings as well as prevent abuse of power being happening. As a result of established code of conduct and ethics, this will also create a healthy organization culture for the employees and able to provide fair treatment in all aspects of employment. Next solution is to enhance the audit system and internal control. Audit system is also a strong measure that can be used to curb abuse of power. Imagine if every decision made by a superior required justification. This would force the person to be tactful and ensure all decision complies toward the organization in-house corporate governance. The transparency is also promoted and the rooms for organizational abuse of power would be thinner and smaller. According to Fiesley 2011, audit implemented in various sectors of industries have proven to be a success factors in keeping integrity at place and abuse of power by organizations at bay. A good internal audit will also help to prevent people from abuse of power, as it will strict on the standard of procedure in terms of document. Every decision that made must be authorized in the form of document.
The third solution is job rotation. Job rotation is also one of the best ways to mitigate the arising of the issue. Job rotation is performed especially for those managers and superiors that has been doing the same scope for a long period of years is also pivotal. It's to ensure that the person does not become engulfed in the position of power and begin to manifest corrupt and abusive practices. According to Fiesley 2011, this is among the steps taken by the United States of America in curbing abuse of power by its president and limiting its incumbency to a maximum of 2 terms. The last solution is strengthen rule and regulation. In order to solve the issues, we will need to strengthen the rule and regulation to mitigate the issues from arising. We will need to impose heavier punishment than before and take legal action on those who are abusing their own power in controlling other people to achieve their own objective. With the impose of stricter rules and regulation, this will make them, especially those who having high authority in organization, to think twice before trying to abuse their power in making some wrongdoing, and also they will always be aware of the consequences of abusing the power.